Hello, ma'am. Welcome to my podcast. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Shiv. It's
Yeah.
my pleasure too. I was really looking forward to this.
Yes. So, as an image consultant, personal branding strategist, and as well as etiquette maker, wanted to understand with what vision people come to you and how do you transform their life?
Generally, it just to start off with the image, it's all about what you look and what you see. That's what is, people generally have a photographic memory, they say.
Right.
So, why this concept of image consulting came into existence itself is because often people have, they're very good in their qualifications and their skills and everything. But when it comes to presenting those skills, then they have a lack. And it's because of the communication. We know that it's almost 83% is your body language, your gestures and everything, which makes up a person's image and personality. So when that gap is there and they're not able to communicate what they are doing, that's when they miss that opportunity, and opportunities don't come by so easily, right? So that's where image plays a very important factor in the way you present yourself when an opportunity is knocking at your door. So that's where we play a role, and image is important for anybody, I would say. Whether it's a small role or it's a leadership position, for any person, image plays a very significant role. And now there is a lot of awareness. Back when I started, I know, in the South, there wasn't so much awareness, but right now I think everybody is aware of the importance of image, and people come to us. And it's like a vicious cycle, I would say. When we build their image and their personality, then they become more confident in the way they communicate and they present their skills to others. And the reaction is also very good. So again, it's a cycle. So they even do better. They want to improve and do better on themselves.
So, as such, the life coach and the image transformation pattern, is it like somebody comes to you and there's a set pattern that you follow to transform or coach them? Or like how we go to the gym and you do series of exercise and 3 months later you have a six packs. Does it work that way? Or you need to sit with the person, analyze and create a structure for it? How does the transformation works?
Well, see, we have two ways of handling this because, like when I conduct workshops and seminars, it will be to a generic audience. The audience can be from any background. Everybody will participate and we will give you generic information. But there is a set method and strategies that we follow. There is a structure to it. The whole science is delivered through that structure to the participants. There is also the premium version, just like everything else. We have a one-to-one session which is customized for the people who are in the senior category, like maybe CEOs, CFOs, celebrities, politicians. Those are the kind of people they opt for one-to-one customization. So
Okay.
we will give you we'll go deep into their background, the nature of work they do, the kind of image they want to reflect in the society or in their organization, or maybe a person is getting promoted to a very senior position. So how he has to behave and conduct himself, he has to carry himself, all of that will be customized according to that situation. So
Okay.
there is both these options are there. We do one-to-one as well as workshops. Corporates engage people like me to do workshops for a certain category of people, like the senior leaders in the company. Maybe we will do certain topics which will be common to all. But if somebody wants a customized solution for that role that they have in their life, then we also do personalized sessions.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. Back then, the journey of a life coach, when you used to talk, people used to refer to it as a lot of, I mean, there was lot of ambiguity. That either most of them don't know about it, or they would want to keep away that, okay, what your life is going just away, let us follow that. Getting adjusted to what the life is giving to them instead of building a life.
Yes.
Now the journey has changed for a lot of people. right from the top founders of the company to the top management. Now we have several individuals who are wanting a better life, go towards a life coaching journey, image transformation, and everything. Do you see the expansion of horizon among the people today? That more and more people are wanting this kind of approach towards their life. More and more people are wanting image consultant, life coach to make their life better. What do you think? How's the phase from 90s, 2000s versus now? How do you see that?
See, back in 90s, I don't think there was even awareness around like out here. Now, gradually, people have started becoming aware, and it started in the Western society, and then it is now we've really picked up quite well in India itself today. People, even the normal people, are aware that they are aware of about, at least they may not know the word image consulting or life coaching, but they are striving to make their life better. So once they find the path to reach a person who can help them do it better, then they definitely reach out to us. And it's a good thing because everybody wants to get better, and whether it be their presentation or even different aspects in life, like it could be relationships or it could be parenting, it could be health and fitness. So everything falls under life itself, right? So there are different topics. Sometimes people come only for unique issues. It could be a top CEO of a company, and he could have his emotions all over the place, and he knows unless he gets a handle over it, he's going to have difficulty with all his employees. And so when those kind of things happen, they become aware, and they really gladly come to us when they know there is someone who can help them overcome that issue.
Right. And as a life coach, you would come across a lot of people from different walks of life. What is the major hurdle that today people face? What is that they come with you with a vision? Are they coming with more, or I mean, there are people who would be having no problems but wants to achieve a certain vision in life. There are people who would be having a lot of problems and they must be coming to you that without any vision, that I just want these problems to get sorted, then we will see what happens. What are these problems you usually get to hear when you interact?
See, there are low confidence issues. People, highly qualified people also, or highly positioned people also have confidence issues. That's
Okay.
one. And also, I see there is a vast difference between the people in the 90s and the people in 2000s. Because today, everything they want it instant. Because there's no patience, and there is a vast difference again when you see they are more resilient, mentally more stronger, the 90s people, whereas the 2000s people, they want everything, the entire world's knowledge is just there at their hands, the press of a button. So that's how they want everything to happen, and this actually causes a lot of emotional instability in them. And also when they don't meet up certain standards, they end up with low confidence issues, and then sometimes into depression. Anxiety is one major thing people come to us with, and relationships, handling relationships is a major problem, right from youngsters to elder people.
Everybody.
Everyone has their own way, problems in that peer group, whatever they are hanging out with or living with. So that is again an emotional instability and balance. That is another problem.
So I wanted to understand that when people come with emotional instability, with a lot of anxiety, what are the main causes do you feel? Is it because of digital media that we have today, people get to see and more exposed to the outside world? Or is it because of the peer pressure that they have either in the family or with friends or in the organization that they work? What exactly is causing this anxiety? Because we never used to face this kind of emotional instability in, like you said, in the 90s and early 2000s. All these terms have been coined in the last decade, I feel. And it is not going well with the people also. Now there are a lot of centers for it where people go and try to align their vibes and aura. What do you think is happening? What has suddenly changed that all of a sudden we have so many mental issues popping up?
I don't think it's really sudden. It's been happening over a period of time. Like
Okay.
we've moved the transition now. It's the digital world, and people literally they are with their devices all the time. Like they wake up with the phone and then they sleep with the phone. That's how their whole entire day progresses. And also, there is, I would put it into, classify it into two things. One is because there is this requirement within them to please everybody and to be perfect.
Okay.
The strive for perfection is there with everyone. So because of the digital media, definitely there's a lot of pressure to be the best at everything. Whatever the version you're showing, everyone has to be the perfect, and that itself brings into them a lot of anxiety. Trying to live up to that standard which they are setting for themselves, which is not even true. It's all a virtual world. And also the pressure from the parents, the school, colleges, and society in general, making them, whatever they are doing, they are told right from childhood, you've got to study hard, you've got to work hard, you've got to really give your relationships the best. And there is always a lot of emphasis on the word hard, hard, hard. And they're overdoing everything, so there is really that puts a lot of pressure on them. Life is an experience, it's not a punishment. But somewhere, because of this pushing by everybody around to be the best at everything, that itself builds up a lot of stress within the individual, and that leads to a lot of anxiety. And also this isolation because of the attachment, they are living a life with the digital media. There is isolation with communication with the people, real interaction. End of the day, we are social animals. We are meant to have human interactions. The touch and feel, the emotions exchange, nothing like that really happens. It's really reduced. Even if you see at a dinner table today, the parents are also meddling with their own phone.
Correct.
So there is a lot, the adults have a big role to play in this as well. So unless we get back to the old way of having some time where they can socialize with each other, they can go outdoors and play games, they are able to have that. There are some families who I know, they consciously introduce such things at home. They make sure that the children go out and play, there is socializing, they make sure there is a balance, it's okay. So when an individual gets isolated, naturally he's heading towards loneliness and depression and anxiety. That's where the emotional instability comes. And when they are really exposed to the real world to take on some important task, they're not even able to handle it. So the mental resilience is low. And that itself makes them again go down into that spiral of depression.
So back then, I mean, as a child, that I have been, my experience as such was like, when I come across a struggle, I used to be thought that these struggles are going to build you a greater person in you, right? Going forward, when I go and interact with parents today, and when they talk to me about their kids, or when I see kids, they are not even able to handle a little bit of pressure, a little bit of struggle. What has to build them is actually breaking them, because
Exactly.
the right, how, so somebody who's a teenage person, or maybe somebody who does not have that strong mental aspect to deal with, how can they grow as a person? How can they face such hurdles? Because struggles are inevitable.
Absolutely.
There's no doubts on that. But people are giving up. Lot of suicide cases among the students because of low test grades, because of what they are not able to achieve, etc. So how can people cope up with this? See, there's a headlines that comes the next day in the newspaper. There's one WhatsApp forward that comes. People talk for 2 days and that's it. They move on. Nobody is wanting to work in depth into it. So how can the transformation happen here?
See, essentially, I think it has to start right from the time a child is at home. That is where deeply it is being embedded in their subconscious itself by the parents. That is where this pampering has to stop. Even when the child is beginning to walk, if a parent is running with the pillow behind him so he shouldn't fall, you should allow him to fall when he's under when you can give him the support and you're able to help him out, rather than when you're finally going to let him out into the world, it's going to be a wild world out there. Nobody is going to be pampering him or her. And that's where they feel totally lost. They're not able to handle anything. So essentially, it should start with the parenting that begins right from their childhood. And you yourself gave an example, like, you were told that these whenever you have struggles, they are essentially meant to build you. We are supposed to learn from those struggles, not crumble under them. And the foundation has to happen right from the childhood. But however, some cases where most cases which are happening, the child is already into the teenage, the damage has already been done. So we will have to work closely. When such people are brought to us, we have to work very closely with those children, find out the reasons why they have such low confidence issues, because they have never been allowed to even make a decision. They are always have to come back to the reason they don't have confidence is because they have to go back to their parent for everything. Everything is provided, every solution to every problem is handled. So the child doesn't get to think for himself. And that's where they don't have the confidence to decide, even when they become adults. Important decisions in life, they are unable to take because they are always looking at their parents to give them a solution, or
Correct.
somebody else. So we have to work very closely with such people, identify their current situation, their background, and then accordingly, slowly bring changes in them, make them do little things which will build their confidence gradually. So it takes, when low confidence has set in over so many years, we can't just get
Immediately change it.
Yeah, it takes time.
So when you just told me that the parents will have to involve themselves to the fullest with the kid, that is when things are going to get aligned, right from physical aspect to the emotional aspect. But if you see in today's time, parents itself are struggling to keep the relationship going. I see a lot of people among my friend circle, honestly and otherwise, that leave about the kid, their own bonding is not that great. For the world, they try to be the best couple on Instagram also, but the story is very different. And the work, the relationship around, the peer pressure that they go through, and then you have a kid to handle. Is it too much on plates now to as a parent? Because there are two concepts that are currently running. Number one is that if the husband and wives are struggling, then they decide to have a kid so that things will come down a bit. And else it is just that they hire a nanny, there's somebody else who's going to take care of the kid, and you be in your own world. That's how it's happening. So the relationship between parents itself today is at stake. It's just like a machine that is running. What direction are we going? So when there is no proper care like how it used to be in 90s, the child is not going to go anywhere. He's just going to surrender or undergo some kind of tremendous depression or anxiety. So do you also come across such cases with respect to your clients around, or when they come and share with you their struggles and journey? What is your opinion with the way how things are functioning when it comes to relationships?
I wouldn't say it's a very rosy picture, because see, end of the day, the very same kids who don't have a proper childhood, they are growing up as adults and these kids get married. So they carry the childhood trauma, the childhood labeling, whatever they have, that insecurity, lack of confidence. They don't even know how to communicate with their partner and nothing of that, because they haven't really grown up seeing that. Now these kids grow up as adults and the same thing happens again. And like you said, if they choose to have a child just so that the child will help to bring them together, then I don't think that's the right way to do it at all, because you're actually subjecting that poor child to something which he carries no blame. And these two couples, I mean, the couple can't handle themselves. Where is the question of them being able to handle?
Exactly.
They are destroying the life of the child as well. So unless a couple first figure out how to live with each other, adjust, learn to coexist peacefully and create a bond, they should pause the child aspect till then. And then when they are okay and mature enough and more stable, they've understood each other well, then they could go for a child, but not the other way around, which they are trying to do. And essentially in a relationship, because of the childhood trauma, I have people, they come like 30, 35 years old. They still have the trauma from childhood. They haven't been able to let go. So we have to figure out, when we do a lot of work on them, go deep, find out what is actually holding them back. But we have successfully done that also with clients. We've helped them come out of that, whatever's holding them, literally like chains holding them back, the childhood labeling which has been given to them when they are children. Maybe even that could have been true. The child could have been a little slow or a little dull or something at that point of time. But now the child is, that adult is no longer like that. But they still believe that they are that carrying that childhood label, that they are dumb or dull, and they are unable to proceed in their lives. And that reflects in their relationships as well. So when we identify what is exactly holding them back, sometimes it just gets resolved and they are able to do better in their relationships. And another big problem is this distance you said about the nanny handling the child. The child gets a bonding and relationship closer with the nanny.
Correct.
The same parents, they may be very highly placed people in the society, but they come to us so many times when there is so much of a gap that is developed with their own child. Child is not able to relate with the parent at all.
Correct.
Just like the parent will provide everything the child wants, but the bonding is not there. And then sometimes the child really goes astray. So there are situations like that as well.
And this is my personal experience. So I am a single guy, 31 years old. Now I have a lot of friends who are married. Few friends are already divorced and planning for a second one. And there's a less percentage of people of my age who are still single, right? Whenever I go and talk with the married men or the women, one thing which is very common that I get to hear is that you are damn lucky you're single. Please don't get married. So people who are having kids, couples who are having kids, and when I see them leading a very happy life, but they still feel that they are in a zone where they are advising others not to get married at all. Why is that mindset built? Is it like too much of adjustments that needs to be done from both ends to make one relationship work?
Again, that's an individual choice, I would say. Because if you see, there are two ends to the spectrum. One is there are very happily married people. Then there are people who are single and are very happy too. Again, there are people who are married and miserable. And single people are also who are miserable and lonely. So it's a choice for that individual to make. And again, I would say not all married couples would have that negative view. There are those happily married people will say it's a beautiful institution to get into when you have the mindset to work together, to mutually grow together. There is some couples, especially the older couples, you'll see they'll have a beautiful bonding that has happened with them. But today's youngsters are impatient. Like they don't, the slightest of situation where they're not able to adjust and they say immediately divorce.
Yeah.
Some people are married within 2 weeks filing for a divorce. Small things, because nobody has the patience or the tolerance to allow the relationship to grow and build together. And they end up saying also, don't get married or something, because they're living with a negative mindset. Like you look at it as a pain. But if you look at it with the mindset of beautifully building this relationship together, then there are couples who are doing wonderfully well. So people have to be educated better about how to handle your relationships, not to look at instant solutions, not to allow ego to surface and allow it to destroy. Only if they open up, and I think before getting married they should be educated. What is marriage? What are you getting into? Are you ready to take it on? And then get married if you want to.
One of the tough questions that needs to be discussed before marriage, people are not discussing it. People are discussing about, say, the wealth, the health, the relations in and around, what is the vision in life, how many houses you have. There's so much of materialistic talks that goes. But what needs to be discussed is not being discussed. For example, I believe that a couple or a potential couple have to put each other in a certain scenario and see how they react, right? Or ask them a certain situation and see what is the opinion that comes, right? Those discussions are not happening, but it is left on time. So what is happening is these negative situations pop up, especially during a marriage. It's not like it's always going to be
Rosie.
rosy, right? So there are going to be situations, there are going to be problems between the guy and the girl as such.
Yeah.
But if the tough questions are discussed before marriage, do you think it will have a impact on the later stage, which people are not doing today?
No, that definitely helps because we ourselves, when couples come, some of the couples come to us before they are going in for the big plunge. So we do help them to sit and discuss certain topics which are common to each other. There will be, in a marriage, there will be certain things which both of them have to get involved and work together. Like, for example, maybe the way they bring up their kids, or maybe they make a home. There will be certain things which are common, both of them will get involved. And there will be certain things which are individual to each other. So that each one has to be given their space to work on individually. So we try to educate them and make them aware of it. These are the areas where probably you should have discussions about what are your future plans, where would you like to settle, do you intend to work for how long, whether if it's a girl, do you want to take a break when you're having a kid, or all those things should be is it going to be mutual parenting. Nowadays, there is paternal leave as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of these common issues should be discussed. It would help in building a healthy relationship, because today the woman is working as well, most cases, and she wants her own space to work and to move on after the child as well. So all those things should be discussed by a couple. I'm just giving you a few examples,
Right.
but there are common, so many things that they need to discuss. Always it's better. So you at least aware who is going to make what kind of adjustments, and suddenly throwing these situations is not is going to put you in a tough situation. And also, like you said, tough things keep springing up later after the marriage. Like initially, when couple get introduced to each other, or they're just courting each other, then that time what happens is they'll be able to, everything is in a honeymoon phase. Even if they are not married, everything about that person will be exciting. But gradually what happens, the very same things which excited you will start making you irritated, frustrated, because that initial magic is gone. And rather than discovering all that after getting married and then blaming it on the institution of marriage, I would say now people are more open. You can spend time with each other. Even sometimes, they travel together, and those are the opportunities where you actually see the inner qualities of a person. How the person behaves in certain situations which are suddenly coming up. Do they get really mad, or, different extremes of their nature and personality. So that gives you a better perspective on whether to take this forward with the person or not. So those are kind of things you can actually, one can explore.
So love marriages are quite simple to handle, at least in the initial phase. I mean, before getting married, they know the do's and don'ts of each other. They know what is wrong for them, what is good for them. But in arranged marriage cases, there is lot of time constraint that comes into play. There's hardly the kind of knowledge that you need to have about the other person. That's not always there. You always learn on the go. And few stats are put up in a way where there are more divorce cases happening in an arranged marriage today than the love marriage. Of course, there are divorce cases that are happening in love, but also in the arranged marriage is significantly high.
Yes.
Why this is happening? Is it because there are certain checklists that one as a couple have to follow, which they have not done, and because of which now they are struggling that this is not the person that I actually told yes for, right? So my question to you is, what should be the to-do list, if I have to ask you, for somebody who is about to get married, or somebody to get a clarity that whether that person with whom you're going to get married is ideal or not? What is your thoughts on that?
No, it all depends on one thing a couple should do before getting married is to have as many conversations as possible about their future together. It is essential for them to put down on a list what exactly. Now, for example, a woman might want to continue working after her marriage, and if that is not clearly communicated, and that comes to her as a big shock after she's married and then she's with her husband, then that itself will be a reason for them to end up in a divorce. right? So earlier there is now one reason why we are seeing so many divorces as compared to before is because the woman is financially independent. Now if you go back in history, right from the early days, the man was essentially a provider protector. Woman used to nurture and take care of the children and the home. That were the individual specific roles. Gradually she started becoming educated, employed and all of that, and she's become self-reliant. So she's not tolerating anything anymore. So easily there's a backlash. If there is anything she's forced to do, then she's saying, no, I will not do it. And then that's it, they just walk out. So that itself kind of triggers things. So these people have to understand that, all these things have to be discussed even before marriage, whether it is an arranged marriage or a love marriage. Again, love marriage, you see all the golden spots before the actually tying the knot. And the true story unfolds only after the wedding.
Yeah.
And in the case of an arranged marriage, it shouldn't be rushed into. I would say anybody, because marriage as such is it is the most important decision for any human being. So before that, don't ever rush into marriage. Not because uncle said, auntie said, or the whole relations or the whole society says this is the best thing. You should feel that this person is the right person for me and then take the decision. Because that's the most important decision. And unless you're ready, even if the financial aspects, everything will become a pressure after getting married. So that readiness should be there. Whether it's financial readiness, mental readiness, emotional readiness, and one can also work on these things. It's not, the good thing is you can work on yourself with the help of mentors, coaches, and figure out how you can fix these areas and then enter marriage in a more mature way. Then you can take it beautifully. The journey can be beautiful. It doesn't have to be a struggle.
What is the best solution out for somebody who is about to get married and after marriage? What are the key points that one has to keep in mind to ensure that, like you said, like women is now very independent. So we know the fact that she's not going to take up a lot of struggles that which she can easily avoid. So I just wanted to understand what would be those factors with respect to current scenario, current global aspects, social media and everything. What are the best way to keep a marriage going? What are the factors, whether it is ignorance or to discuss it out? What do you think it should be as a couple?
Yeah. See, a couple, they have to work towards that aspect of peaceful coexistence. It's more a give and take, it can't be you against the other person. It has to be you and me working together. That has to deeply sink into both the individuals. There will be times where you have to speak up. You should know when to do that and when to just withhold, not to talk back. And sometimes you have to bend and go. You have to, it's okay. It all depends on the situation. Because either one loses, you lose the marriage. So that there has to be this understanding between both of them. There's one beautiful concept I came across called mutualism. And I think if this people practice, they will definitely, there's no need for a breakage of any marriage at all, because it's an understanding between both of them. Like, you do this, I will do that. I do that, you will do this. Like, even small things. Maybe I'll take your father to the hospital. You drop the child in the school. Or I make a cup of tea. You bring the cookies. Something like that, very beautifully they can actually be there and harmoniously take their life forward. Instead of pitting against each other and fighting against each other. Major thing to let go is ego. And,
Ego of what?
Whenever there is any disagreement, it can be actually resolved by them sitting together and having a discussion after they are calmer, rather than attacking each other when they are in the peak of an argument. And to understand better, a man should also understand the qualities of a woman. And the woman should also understand the qualities of a man. Like, men are generally logical thinkers and women are more emotional. So many times a woman, you just, when she's little emotionally on the downside, just a hug or appreciating her, those are small things a man could do. And she'll be fine. She'll do anything for you. And at the same time, the giving a man some, space to himself, helping him when he needs to make important decisions, trying to be that support. We are there to complement each other, because a man needs a feminine energy to make him whole, and a woman needs a man's energy to make her whole. That's why we are there actually, but we are actually fighting against each other. That people should understand, that it's good if they go out and learn and educate themselves how to, even before they get into a relationship, if they understand how a woman's mind functions, and vice versa, that in itself will solve so many things.
And one major big point which I have seen, especially in the Indian households, is the son getting caught between mother and the wife,
Yes.
because of which could be a very small dispute to begin with, but it aggravates to the
Yes.
next level. So what happens? There comes a point where the son will have to make a choice. Either I go with the mother or I go with the wife. Either ways, supporting one of the people is going to be bad for the guy. In such scenarios, because this is a every household problem almost, but nobody wants to talk to about it openly. What the son has to do here?
The
Whose side the son has to take, whether it is what is right or who is right.
See, if you look at it in a broader view, I think once a man is married and he is with his wife, then he should be allowed, ideal case scenario I'm saying, he should be allowed to create a life of his own with his wife, right? The influence of the mother should gradually subside. But if that is persisting, then there is it is a responsibility of the son to convey to his mother that this person has newly come. He is already living in a place where everything is comfortable, it's all normal for him. But for the person who's entering new, everything is new for the person. So he has to help her to adapt, because that's a relationship he's going to take till the end. Mom, dad, everybody will become the next. Essentially the relationship between the couple is what is the main thing. So he has to explain to his family members that if you all are being so harsh or you all are being unkind, it upsets her, and then thereafter it affects me as well. So he should try to explain to his family members, not just his mother. Sometimes it's the sister-in-law, the father-in-law, maybe other members too, because that he has to understand what is the fulcrum. His relationship with the wife is what he's going to take through for a long time. Essentially, that would be ideal if he's able to talk to his mother, explain to them the impact it's having on him because of his wife getting affected. I think a man should be able to stand up and do that for himself. But if he is not that strong enough, then definitely that will be a problem, because the wife will not, till some time she will adapt. After that she'll break.
The possessiveness of a mother and the possessiveness of a wife is playing a bigger role here.
Yeah.
Who wins?
Yeah.
So the ego is between the mother and the daughter-in-law.
Yes.
The son is just an instrument.
Yes.
So that becomes a very tough call, for a lot of them to adapt. Like, who do we go and talk to? Neither of the parties are ready to listen. So eventually what happens, a tough call has to be made.
Yeah.
Then you have to choose one of the people, and that's where the entire problem goes. And people are like, there's no solution for this. If it is going to happen this way, it is going to happen. Either you're bad for somebody, or you are going to be bad in somebody's book at the end of the day.
In life, you can't make everybody happy. That is there.
Right.
But you have to somewhere choose on what you have to do. The mother, you are able to convert. If it's the mother's love is genuine, then she'll understand if the son is unhappy. So, and ideally, it should be the mother who's more broad-minded. She has to understand that I had my time, I got married, but they forget over time. And they try to be very harsh with the daughter-in-law, which is actually not ideal. But so many times if they intend it, I've seen this, of course I do practice law of attraction and all of that. So also we work with couples. Something happens, they get a transfer, something happens and they move. There are things like that, we believe.
Smooth transition.
Yes, and you have to believe and you have to really work on it. Things like that also happen.
I think this would enlighten a lot of people today when they hear this part. With this, I want to step back a little and go towards college and school,
Okay.
right? Lot of youngsters today are either into having long-term relationships. They want to experiment with the dating culture around in India. A lot of experimentation is also happening. So I was seeing this a random video on YouTube where the host goes to each and every girl or a guy and tries to understand what kind of a girl they want to date. So the girls, majority of them are like, we want to date the bad boys, and the guy would be like, we want to date a certain type of a girl, maybe good or bad, or maybe I want to experiment in this level, something of that sort. How do you see the youth today going towards a dating culture in India? What is your opinion on that?
Dating culture is experiment. See, there are like it goes. If it goes to an extreme, then it can be when the child is already going through a lot of other chaos in life, and if they are getting addicted to this, then for them to come back once they are adults and stabilize themselves is going to be a huge challenge. Because here now you're just switching like that. Then where is the question of a steady relationship when you're growing as an adult? Now when I travel abroad, I see so many cases like 30, 35 years old, and they are still single, and they, so many times, I'm not talking about the single by choice and they are happy. I'm talking about the people who really don't know how to figure out and lead their lives. They want to settle down, but they're not able to identify one single person because you're exposed already to this dating culture and you've been swapping so many partners. So that instability is there. They're not able to make up their minds. But when I go back to the people like, say, the 90s kids or whoever have been in that era, those kids, they were able to make so many clear decisions. Right when they were 22 itself, they would be married, they'll be even having a home, owning a home also sometimes. They had a lot of clarity in that at a much younger age. But these kids, they don't have clarity. It's not just that here that they are hopping from one to the other. They are having the same thing reflecting in other areas of life as well. Even in their 30s, they don't have clarity. The people who are exposed to this. So that will create a lot of instability in their life.
So how does this particularly stop? I mean, see, a lot of young adults today are not gonna have a very long-term vision with this. So, like all of us believe that there is a certain age for everything, right? You're in college, you're gonna get into certain activities. Then you're gonna work, you're gonna have a certain way of living a life. So there is no long-term thinking that we have. Like when I sit with my dad, he will start from 20, he'll reach till 60, that you should get married now because the connection is like by 35 you have to be a father of one, by 40 if you are planning for second, because when you turn 60,
Yeah.
the kids are in that zone.
True.
I said, I can't plan all this. I
Yeah.
mean, I had this discussion with him in 2019 and 2020 COVID came. So nobody saw that coming and we lost almost 2-3 years of life. I mean, there's a destruction completely.
Yeah.
So then I started believing that having a long-term vision is in today's time is not possible, because I mean, how much ever you think, the situation around is not going to support you. I may plan the way I want to. I'll plan until 80, but what if my life is only till 60? So do you think that long-term vision helps, and especially with somebody in today's mindset?
No, I don't think a long term vision will help with today's mindset at all, because everything they want it to be a short term result. They want to see results quickly. So, ideally, I would suggest you plan, at least for the youngsters, at least have some vision rather than being totally blank and totally not having any clarity at all. Have some vision, fix some short term goals, first achieve that, then maybe you move to the next, because the world is also evolving like that. What was really like on the top at one time is becoming redundant now, right? So with even a couple of years, things are really drastically changing at a great speed. So there is no need to have a long term vision like what used to happen in the earlier days, because that time progress was not this fast. So it's okay to have, but you should have some vision. in mind. Otherwise, you're lost.
Correct. And a lot of youngsters today, like that includes even me for that matter, are feeling that s- people who are very ambitious, like I'm a very ambitious person, and if I'm very ambitious person, I always see a relationship as a a way of distraction, right? And a good percentage of people believe this. So what they do is they don't tend to take any step towards it. So, and I mean, that's my mindset I personally believe in. What is your advice or opinion here? Like, over ambitious is also bad, people say. But once you get into that rhythm, you can't stop yourself. You need to be keep going, keep going, keep going, and you miss out on this path of relationship. So, what is your advice to such kind of people?
Essentially, I would say, I mean, being ambitious is not at all wrong. That's what gives the drive and the fuel to keep moving in life. It's all about balance, like it doesn't mean like successful people shouldn't have a relationship, that it takes away all your attention. Because even if you take, for example, youngsters, there are students who are in a relationship. They are helping each other when one is having an exam or one is having some important thing. The other is really helping out with, maybe I'm seeing the students how they help each other, during tough times and challenges. So it's not always that a relationship will have to be something which is distracting you on the negative side. It can also be complementing you and helping you out. Now, children are studying outside, they are in hostels, there is no parental support or anything. Sometimes they are in a relationship and it's only the partner who comes and helps them out during difficult situations, right? So that can be a source of strength as well.
There's a good percentage of people who are ambitious and they believe that now they are supposed to dedicate the time, they have to dedicate themselves, and also give a part of life to this and also nurture. Somewhere, this is exactly why the meaning of distraction comes into place, where they don't want to disturb their ongoing process, is why they want to keep away, because now there are going to be demands uh, coming up from the partner also, right? The cases where probably both of them would gel well and do well is if they're into the same field or same line of business or work, then it might work well, but that's not the case with most of them. So that's the reason why, in today's time, most of them would like to stay away from relationship. What is your take on that?
It all depends on the individual's mindset, I would say. Like, see, if you're going to look at it as a distraction, then naturally it will be a distraction. You have to realize the importance or the value addition that brings to your life, the kind of strength and support when you're really low. The presence of a person who just is solely yours, when you're able to discuss with them, the kind of support they give, helping you get through a very emotional, straining situation, those are the areas where a partner can really support. But one should look at it with that kind of a mindset. This person will be my strength and support, not as a distraction. But if you enter it with that mindset, like this person is going to be a distraction, then you're only going to manifest those negative vibes towards the person.
So
So,
it's all about the mindset.
yes,
And if somebody has already have a preconceived mindset, how does he or she change that in this case?
it, the person has to realize by looking or watching other people who are in good relationships. Now, if you are only exposed to people who are in bad relationships, naturally that will be playing in your
Correct.
back of your mind. Or if you're consistently even looking at people in having harsh bad relationships, it's also about learning how not to be like those people, how to actually be a source of strength to each other. There are some very beautiful couples, even young people who are still not married, they are just partners. They really complement each other and help each other out. So that you should look at inviting that person into your life and that person being a strength to you in so many ways. Because young, okay, everybody is, you hang out with friends, you have fun, everything is fine. But after a point of time, you'll realize that very same friends will be married, maybe they'll get into family and children, and they will be busy with their own small
Life.
unit.
Yep.
And then you will be lost and left alone when you are in your 40s or 45s. There are clients who come to me like that. They find that isolation very, very challenging and difficult. And then it becomes even more hard for them to find a partner at that time. So, if your mindset is inclined in that direction, then I would say you should go for it when the time is optimum, like they say, the right thing at the right time. So why not?
So the cliche question is, what is an ideal time to get married in today's scenario? Like I believe back then it was early 20s or mid 20s, but keeping in mind about how things are today, if the freedom is given, ideal marriage for a youngster would be what? From your perspective.
I would say it all depends on the mental readiness of the person. Mental readiness, also financial readiness. So it could be different for different. You can't say. Of course, definitely there has to be mental and emotional readiness, which we know approximately around 21 plus. They used to say, but now there is also the financial readiness where you have to support each other and be there. So it has to be, again, it will depend on an individual themselves. Now, one person could be really ready, like even you said you started your career in 21. So by the time you were 20, 25, 28, you or 26, you should have been ready, maybe. But there may be others who are still in their 30s. A lot of them are there like that. Today's youngsters, still in 30s, 35, no clarity. They don't have any fixed financial income coming their way, or they don't even have any plans yet about how to proceed in life. For those people, then that's going to be a challenge.
Right.
Because when they haven't figured out things for themselves, pulling in another person into this tussle is not an advisable area.
Correct. So all this while we are discussing about relationship between two people. Now there is another relationship which is also happening at a workplace. Maybe as an employee or as a founder of a company, you get to have a lot of professional relationship with your colleagues. I have heard from a lot of people that I am not leaving an organization. I am leaving a certain person. I'm leaving a good set of people and coming out, either for good reasons or bad reasons. So when we go and talk to employees of different organizations, we get to hear that our manager is like this only. There's the interdepartmental relationships are not good, or one person is feeling torturous about the other person's behavior. There's a complete chaos going on in the organization, and somewhere it is also affecting the growth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
so on an individual level and also at the organizational level, if you ask me. Now, when these problems are getting encountered when you're working in an organization with thousands of employees around you, having hierarchies placed at different positions, you know that that person is doing harm to you. What is the best way to handle this, come out clean, or maybe have some mental peace at work? What is the ideal way to look at it?
This answer, like, see, it may not be something which everybody really is looking forward or wanting to hear. But I would say in any relationship, not only in an organizational relationship, it could be anywhere. Now, this person is already placed higher in the hierarchy and you can't do much about it. You only have to think and see what is it that I can do? If your mother-in-law is not treating you well, what is it that I can do about the situation? If the husband is not behaving all right with me, what is it I can do about the situation? My boss is not behaving as the way he should, what is it that I can do about it? It's always about what you can do in that situation. You have got to take the decision. One is you either accept and ignore and continue to do whatever you're doing. Otherwise, take the step, go talk to them about it, see if you can mediate and come out of the situation. Otherwise, you have to take the step about what is it that you can do to become ready and remove yourself from the situation, the third one. If things are not going well in that organization and you're going to be continuously in misery, there's no point in continuing in such a
Continuing there,
situation, right?
right.
Either you confront, you address, you talk and resolve it. Whatever it is, either in the three cases, the action has to be taken by you. What is it that I can do to make the situation better? And sometimes, they'll ask me another question in the same line: what do I do if I have such a toxic person sitting in my own house? Right? It could be a parent, it could be a husband or a wife or some person in the house. The only way is to remove or isolate yourself from that person as much as possible. That's the only way
Only way
possible.
out. And do you think the body language, the way you talk, and the way you present yourself builds a perception in the minds of people where you work?
Mm.
Do you think that is the ideal way or a barrier to ensure that, boss, this is your limit? You cannot cross this line and talk to me like this, or you cannot present yourself to me like this. Do you think these three are playing an essential role today, and many of them are missing it out on this because they don't know how to conduct themselves?
Yeah, a lot of people are not aware about how to conduct themselves at all. Like that itself creates a lot of problems. And there again, we conduct workshops and tell people like this is, you have to respect the personal space of another person, buddy. You can't, we all have that personal bubble around us. Even the distance we maintain with our colleagues or our people working for us, we have to respect that. We have to educate them when they're not aware. Then we have to educate them. You
Correct.
can't go beyond those limits. And your body language and the gestures of a person definitely plays a
Plays an important role, yeah.
significant role. Now, see, there are people of such a stature, the senior leaders, sometimes the boss of the company. He doesn't even have to talk anything. He just has to come and stand there. His stature and his
Aura will
aura,
give
demeanor,
the answers.
all that will be good enough. That itself will be a source of strength for the people around. But there are some people who make a lot of noise and get nothing
Get
done.
nothing out of it. Can you tell me few body language? Like suppose I'm going and attending a conference, there are going to be hundreds of people around. Just just to gauge around, what is there any pattern, like if somebody is standing with the folded hands like this, what does it communicate? Or if somebody is standing with hands in their pockets, what does it communicate?
Generally, the in communication per se, but it's not like 100% if a person is having folded hands, it's like this.
Yeah.
But
In general, yeah.
it means like, whenever you have open body language, you are more open to the conversation, you are more confident. It conveys a impression of being more confident.
And when we say open body language, what does it mean?
Like,
You're
your hands,
free hands.
yeah, free
Okay.
hands, as opposed to standing like this.
Okay.
But they could also be somebody, again, it also depends on the situation. There could be somebody standing with folded hands and nodding at you when you're speaking. That is okay, they're doing it in a confident way. But if the person in front of you is speaking and then you're listening in a very slouched shoulders, it
That
depends.
means I am
The stance.
having the authority and
And
you are
yes,
okay.
I'm listening to you like this.
Right.
So that is one thing. And what was the other thing you asked?
So, for example, somebody's hands
Hands are
inside
in
the
their
pockets.
pockets. Yeah.
What does it tell about
that,
a person?
that again doesn't convey a very confident
Confident. Okay.
body language. Generally what they say is when you have a hands at the back or into your pockets, it's like not showing yourself openly to the person you're communicating. And a lot of them do this, try to put
So, what is the
their hands in-
ideal body posture while talking to somebody, maybe to one or maybe in a group of people? What should be the ideal body language like? Which shows you to the most, portrays as if you're the most powerful person, as well as most confident person also.
Okay.
What should be the ideal posture? What do you think?
Whether you're talking to a group or to an individual, ideally just keep your feet shoulder width apart.
Right.
Don't stand like in attention position, just stand at ease. Main thing is keep your shoulders nicely spread out
Okay.
and have your
Uptight,
chest up.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And open gestures with your hands, when not overdo it, but when you can.
Limited.
And also they say, when you use your hands to communicate along with your speech, the brain, it connects with your hand gestures, your flow of conversation is better.
Better. Okay.
The
Correct.
string of sentences, your everything, your communication will be much better if you use your hands. And maintain eye contact is very important.
Correct. So, in general, the finest entrepreneurs of the country and at the global level, let's take example of Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Mukesh Ambani, Adani. What is that one mindset or one value they have in common which puts them onto the top pedestal in comparison to the rest, in terms of the way they see life, or what is the one standout point?
One, I would say, is they never, just fell down with failure. They just used that they say, fail fast, fail forward. Every failure, they used it to move forward and grow.
Right.
Now, even if you take Mr. Trump, if you saw how he had to step down, and then now again he's come back. What he's doing is a different matter.
Different matter.
But he's achieved what he wanted
Correct.
to do. And he never let failure allow him to sit back. They fell down, but they got up and rose again and again and again. That is their whole idea. Now, if you look at all of these leaders, they are like that. The people you mentioned, they never let failure be a setback to them. They just used it as an opportunity to grow.
So when we are discussing about powerful leaders, I want to ask a very simple question. How to be the most powerful person in the room? With respect to body language, with respect to what you talk, and with respect to aura that you hold. How to be the most powerful person in the room, wherever you go as an individual. What would be your answer to that?
Okay. Before you even head out to the place, just quickly run through your role, goal, and occasion. What is the role you're going to play in that place? What is your goal? What is the objective of visiting the place? And what is the occasion? And then you dress accordingly, firstly.
Okay.
And I would say you step out with a smile. Firstly, that itself makes you feel better. And once you enter the room, it's always nice to wear a smile. They say it's the most least expensive accessory one can have. And that breaks ice. And then there is a necessary to not overspeak. There is, I think it is Diana Freeman, if I remember. She says there is this elegance is all about the true elegance begins in the mind. And once that is done, everything is set. So there is a subdued elegance that you carry and you emanate from you. You don't have to make a lot of noise. And be a very patient listener. That's very, very important, because even before people are completing the sentence, we are preparing the answer to give it to them. So being a very good listener will help you to stand out and not overspeak. Listen to people, observe, and your conduct should be in such a way, in a pleasant way. You should not be humiliating anybody. In turn, we should be humble. It doesn't matter how big a person you are. You can see that in some of the great leaders. They go there will be a humility around them. There will be that subdued elegance with which they carry themselves around. And acknowledge everyone. Don't discriminate between big and small. Try to be nice to everybody. And I think these are very essential little qualities.
Few basics that one has to keep in mind.
You will automatically, your aura will come through. And more than anything, believe in it. You believe in yourself. If you don't be your own cheerleader, nobody is going to do that for you. Believe, I am confident. And do this exercise every day when you are up in the morning. You can look at the mirror. That's a very common, everybody knows it. Say to yourself that you are somebody good. Whatever you feel like saying to yourself, that makes you believe that you're confident. And it will naturally come out in your body language.
So that brings to an important question about law of attraction. Somewhere I feel that when you refer about waking up in the morning and looking up to yourself and telling something, I also think that it's somewhere in the law of attraction to be that way. What is your so everybody has seen the movie called The Secret. Somewhere somehow people relate, okay, if I do this I may get that. But how to implement law of attraction in a most ideal way that people don't know. So they struggle for it. So what happens, they usually go and Google, they may get up, they may end up getting some abrupt answers. But you being in this path, you already know how this work and how it has to be implemented. So can you throw a light a little bit more on law of attraction?
To quickly put it across, I'll say, like, we are all what we believe. Everything begins in the mind. Like right from the chair you're sitting in, the watch you're wearing, the college you went to, the person you marry, everything once began as a thought in the mind. So that is how we actually we are able to attract what we want. So we have to create that in our mind. Like anything, even the most magnificent building in the world once began as a thought. So if we believe that, then we can believe that we will be able to first believe it in our minds, and then we'll be able to manifest it. And if you believe it so strongly, it says the entire universe will work along with us to take us forward in the direction of achieving it.
Correct.
So the more and more you are going to put up things related to what is it that you want to buy, or I mean, what is it that you want to achieve, and you keep looking at it every time, every day, morning, in the night, before you go to bed, and everywhere, you will be taking steps in the direction towards achieving that. It could be any goal. So firstly, it is very important to believe in your mind
That
and
it is
believe that you
possible.
can do. Yes, the belief is very, very important. You start with the belief and then you take steps in the direction of that
Right.
to manifest it.
So there are two ways people look at it. One set of people believe that to put it out in the universe what you want, you need to tell it loud. And there's another set of people who are like, no, don't do that. Do it in discreet. So that when you go and put it out in universe loudly, there are people who are going to spoil. For example, I wrote an exam. It is a very, very basic example. It has happened to a lot of people.
Okay.
They'll go and write the exam. I have killed it. 90 plus I'll get. End of the day, they'll end up getting 40 or 50 marks.
Okay.
It's a very small example, but somewhere people then tell at the spot that you shouldn't have told that, you scored this many marks. You should have just left it on time. Or you should have just told within yourself that you will score only this much. So there are two ways of, looking onto it. What is the right way, whether it is to put it out upfront, loudly, or whether to put it out in a most discreet way, like imagination, believing that you're already there, or playing within your own mind and heart and soul that, okay, someday I may maybe achieve it, let me not put it out. What is the ideal way to look at it?
For me, if you were to ask my opinion, I would say you believe in something, you say it to yourself, and you let it out to the universe, meaning you don't have to go and scream it out to each and every individual you're associated with, but you let it out into the universe, the power of the universe, nature. So you're communicating, make this happen. That is the power of the universe to help you make, that the forces of the universe will help it happen. But there is no need to go and tom-tom to everybody saying that, okay, I'm going to do this, do that, because there will be each one giving you their own input also. You might want to achieve something, somebody will say, why, Are Baba, why are you going to do this? Why don't you do something else? And maybe totally divert your path. So there is really no need to go and tell everyone else. I mean, that's what I practice. I don't go, there are a set of very close inner circle of friends I have. I've actually kind of, over the period of years narrowed it down, and it's a very good group. They both highlight my negatives as well as my pluses. So essentially for my negative, being a critic, if they are taking their input matters to me. So I can improvise on what I want to do. So if you have some kind of people like that, like a close inner circle, then maybe you could share with them, because they are your real well-wishers. But other than that, I don't think
It's not necessary to put
not
it
required.
out. And also, is there a necessity when you're implementing law of attraction to have this vision board? Like, again, there are two sets of people. One who will have this vision board, put their imagination into reality, and then see whether it works or not. There are people who just think. Yet again, my question is, what is the ideal way?
See, there is no ideal way. It's just like, okay, why we say you put it out on a paper or on a board, or maybe even on your laptop, or you could even have it on your
Mobile wallpaper,
phone. Yeah.
yeah.
You're looking at it every time. So it kind of triggers your memory. And then whenever you'll feel that whenever you write it down or draw it or put it in a picture, there is more, the communication they say, from the nerve endings go to the brain. Whenever you write, use your fingers or you write. That's why it's very important to write down what you want to do. It says it goes and really sits deeply in your subconscious. So, I am somebody who writes a lot. So there are affirmations I write, there are gratitude list of things I do every day as a ritual in my morning and in the night. There are some I do in the morning and some I do in the night. These are all things which I have learned from my mentors and coaches, and today I've manifested so much just by my journaling. Even the house where I live by the beachside is a manifestation of what was there in my diary, in my journal.
So penning down does
It does.
gives better result.
Yes.
Okay, that's quite interesting to know. I'm very glad to have this conversation with you today. We spoke a lot about relationships, we spoke about entrepreneur mindset, we spoke a lot of attraction. I'm pretty sure that at the end of the day, when somebody's going to hear this, they are going to get answers for something which you won't find it on net otherwise. So I'm very glad to have you here, and thanks a lot coming all the way for this podcast. And I wish you the best for your future ahead. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having me.